to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Angel, aka the Angelic Muse. I'm an intuitive tarot reader as well as a certified Reiki practitioner. And as you can see from the title of the video, I am back with a What Do You Need to Hear pick a card reading. So as you can see, we have 3 piles for you all to choose from. So starting with pile 1 here, we have a clear quartz crystal. I don't want to focus. Pile 2 has a black obsidian on top. Y'all, I'm sorry about the focus. It's just not cooperating. It does it for a little, and then pile 3, we have a smoky quartz crystal. Okay. Hopefully you got a good view. I tried. So with that being said, if you would like to take a moment now, you can pause the video so that you can meditate on whichever pile or crystal you gravitate towards. You and your intuition agree on. Whether that's one or all 3 piles is entirely up to you. However, if you don't gravitate towards any of them, then this simply is not a reading for you. But I do hope that I see you in another video. So all timestamps will be down below as always, so that you can jump right into your pile. I will also be listing all of the decks that I am using down below, and my links also will be available to you if you want to book a personal one-on-one intuitive tarot session with me or a distance Reiki session with me. I am available for both over on my website, www.theangelicmuse.com. So now that that's out the way, I'm going to jump into pile 1. I hope you all enjoy your readings, and I will see you at your timestamps. Alrighty, if you chose pile 1 with the clear quartz crystal, we are going to get into your reading, starting out with your tarot first. So for your first card, we have the Ace of Swords. Second card is the Two of Wands. Third card is the King of Pentacles. Fourth card is the Lovers. And then your last and final tarot card is the Two of Swords. Okay, so I'm noticing you got 2 of the 2s, which is the Wands and the Swords. So it seems like you're like kind of straddling between either 2 decisions, 2 ways of thinking, to anything really. Like you just seem like you're kind of straddling the fence on something, maybe even super confused about it. So with that, and I'm also noticing your only major arcana is the Lovers, which is interesting because if you think of like Gemini energy, it's kind of like 2 different sides as well. So I'm feeling like whatever it is, what you need to hear right now is, first of all, the decision or the clarity will come to you. I'll say that now. You have the Ace of Swords as your first card, which is kind of significant of, you know, just bursting with new ideas, new inspiration, something new just coming in as far as your thought process goes. However, I feel like you're not fully allowing it in because you're conditioned to be a certain way already. I feel like what you need to hear right now is that, you know, despite what you may be feeling, despite what it may look like, despite how hard or difficult things may be right now for you, that if you were to just look on the, I don't want to say the brighter side, because like it's not always easy to do that. But if you look on the more fortunate side of things, I feel like you'll be met with more ease and more clarity in whatever it is that you're going through. When I see the King of Pentacles here, I feel like this is significant of how fortunate you are how abundant you are, and that doesn't necessarily have to be monetarily, but just abundant in love, abundant in support, abundant in um, stability, and just like your mental, like it's just when you're not dealing with things or you don't have things on your mind, you seem to be really at peace with life. It's not until something actually comes up, which from some people they'll say, well, duh. But the thing is, some people can be fortunate and still find fault in a bunch of things. Whereas I feel like you do tend to look on the brighter side for the most part. But right now, because you're just dealing with so much, it's just kind of hard to do that. But that does not take away from the fact that you are still fortunate, abundant, and blessed. It's just a matter of you shifting, your mindset. You did pick the clear quartz crystal, so that's kind of like the big daddy of crystals. That's kind of like the cleanser of all other crystals. So I feel like just being able to clear your mind, even with this Two of Swords energy, just kind of blocking out all distractions and making the decision from a place of calmness and just being able to rationalize properly would do you some good. Um, because it seems like your confidence just isn't where it should be, or where you would like for it to be, rather. Um, I feel like you've been through a lot here because I see mountains in pretty much every yeah, there are mountains in pretty much everything. So maybe like you've been like going through the motions, like 1 minute you're up, 1 minute you're down, or every time you turn around, like it's just kind of, I feel like you may be going through one of those phases where you're like, am I ever going to get out of it? And that's where I think that's why that came to me, where it said whatever decision or whatever it is that you're in between right now, it will be a point. There will come a point in time where a decision has to be made, and you will make the right one. So I wouldn't really stress too much about it, as hard as that may be in the moment. Just kind of giving it to God or giving it to our Creator is the best bet for you, because there are certain aspects of this journey that are not in your control right now. Um, the most that you can do in terms of control is to try to just stay grounded, while also keeping your mental, not getting so lost in the clouds of things, or getting so mixed up in the muddleness of it. Because if you were to just follow your intuition and follow your heart when it comes to how you move forward from this point forward, um, that's the best you can do from here. So I want to get into your oracle now and see what they say. So you got, never forget how resilient you are. You always bounce back. Remember that it's okay to be happy. Really, it is. You got the Sagittarius card. You got Squirrel Spirit, believe in yourself. And you got Dragonfly Spirit, truth transcends illusion. So, with these two cards over here, never forget how resilient you are. You always bounce back, and remember that it's okay to be happy. Really, it is. This kind of ties into what I was saying with you kind of not necessarily looking at the brighter side, but just looking at the more fortunate side of things, because you are extremely fortunate and you always do get out of situations. And like I said, this situation you will get out of as well, and you'll rise above it. You'll come out of it with knowledge and more power and wisdom than you had before you went into it. It's just kind of like you're in this phase of learning, the next step, and it's unfamiliar territory. So naturally there's some sort of feelings of unfamiliarity and even fear to a certain extent. And I think that's why you're so afraid to move on it and act on it. Um, but with this Sagittarius card, it's just reminding me of, I mean, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion. So whatever your mind and your thoughts are, or whatever that, whatever you're thinking, it will just be expanded upon. So if you're thinking negatively, negativity will expand. But if you're thinking positively, positivity will expand. Um, but not only that, but I think about how Sagittarius is, the energy of it is known for like traveling. And like I said, this is unfamiliar territory that you're stepping into. And so with that, sometimes we go places, we travel places, we have no idea what to expect once we get there. We can look everything up in the world, like look up all the places we want to go. We can book the room, book the excursions, book the car and everything, but you really don't know the feeling until you get there. So it's kind of like, this is the same instance of that. Like you can plan all you want ahead, but when you're hit with something, unexpected, it's just like, I don't know how to move. And I think that's why I said you're just being encouraged right now, for one, to just keep the faith and just remain steadfast and positive, and to go with your heart when making decisions, to go with your intuition and your, just kind of mixing intuition, your emotion, and your logic in, because you don't seem to have a difficult time doing that most times, or so it seems. At least I don't get the feeling. Otherwise, I feel like you'd be in worse situations more often. Um, but I get the feeling that overall you're pretty good with maintaining, you know, your peace of mind and how you go about things, and making decisions in the first place. Um, Also, with this squirrel spirit and this dragonfly spirit, it's interesting because one flies and one stays grounded. I think they have flying squirrels somewhere, but um, just for, they're thinking of a regular squirrel, it doesn't fly. And it also has a thing for burying its food, like for and saving it for later, and just being like prepared in a sense of readiness for, when the time comes for them to have to like go into hibernation and things like that. So I think that there's a sense of preparedness that just comes with you. However, you just, in certain instances in life, you can never be extremely prepared. Like I think you'll mentally prepare yourself for like things, but until you actually get there, like I said, then it's a whole different story. And you're like, well, I don't know. But it does say to believe in yourself and to trust yourself, because you have the keys. Like it says, you're very resilient and you always bounce back from things. So just think about situations that you've been in before and how you've maintained yourself and managed to get through them, whether it be with ease or even if it looked like a mess at the time. The fact that you got through it and you pulled through it is the most important thing and the most important aspect of it all, because it takes a lot to get through things, and it takes even more to get through things with a level head. So that's definitely an amazing quality to have, and I think that that's what is being, what you're being encouraged to lean into more. So I do want to read these two oracle messages out of the book, um, which is here. So for all right, so for Squirrel Spirit, it says, the protection message: the unpredictability of life can shake your confidence in yourself and your potential for handling the challenges that come your way. Does the thought of not having enough or being enough make you squirrely? Have you forgotten all your strengths, wisdom, and resources? You have come so far on your wits and creativity, making use of all your potential and all that spirit presents you to help you through life's trying times. It's time to look back on your life and remember how your needs have always been met for the highest good, even in your most challenging times. Life loves you, and so many treasures are hidden in plain sight, ready to be revealed when you most need them. So relax. Squirrel Spirit wants you to know you are poised and ready for whatever is coming next. So trust in yourself and trust that Spirit has your back. So this just ties back into what I was saying. Like, I mean, the King of Pentacles, he is directly in the middle of these, like, the decision making processes and just the thoughts and everything. And it's like at the end of the day, you're still very abundant. You're still very grounded and sure and secure where you are. So this is not like it's just a matter of life just kind of lifing right now, and but it doesn't take away from the fortunes that you have. It doesn't take away from how your ability to take on things. It doesn't take away from your ability to be smart and practical about things. It's not, don't allow this situation to shake you up and knock you off of your throne, because you deserve to be there. You've earned that right. And you know, there's a lot to say about someone who is resilient, like I said, because everybody does not make it out of things. And the King of Pentacles, whether you're male or female or not, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's a matter of just being able to get shit done and do it in a way that works. And the King of Pentacles, he's very he has a slowness to him, but it's also methodical. It's not rushed. It's not just anything. It's very thought out and very well, what's the word I'm looking for? It's processed in a way that the other kings don't have. And it's not to knock them at all. It's just saying, like, they all have different traits and qualities to themselves. But one thing the King of Pentacles does is he remains grounded, and he remains resourceful as well. It's not just like he takes what it is around him, and that is what grows, and that is what thrives. But that goes back to what I was saying about, you know, this Sagittarian energy and it being represented by expansion. So just being mindful of your thoughts and how you carry yourself throughout the journey is the most important thing, because this could just be a test of your faith. You know, while everything is taken care of in the end, you know, it's just a matter of you getting there. So then lastly, I want to read the Dragonfly Spirit, and the protection message there says, did you really think this world of the senses is all there is? From the hidden mystical realms, signs are being sent to you, but perhaps you have perceived separation and convinced yourself that you are on your own. Have you fallen into spiritual amnesia and forgotten your connection to a living, loving, always supportive universe? If so, rub the sleep out of your eyes, for Dragonfly Spirit is here to remind you of all the love and support available to you in every moment. There is an organizing principle underlying the events you have experienced, and Dragonfly Spirit can help you see it and trust that Spirit has your back. Let go of the illusion of chaos and randomness. Love is here, so follow the signs that appear serendipitously. As you pay attention to the magic all around you, you will know you are on the right track. Now, the one thing I will say about the tarot cards, is that for the most part, everyone's on their own outside of the lovers, but there's still the protection of an angel over you. So I think that this says a lot about you being able to, like, you may be the type to handle all your problems on your own, like physically, but there is a strong spiritual connection that you have, a strong spiritual protection that you have, and just understanding and always remembering that you're loved, like the card says, but that God has an undying and unwavering love for you no matter what, even if you were to make the wrong mistakes. There's really, like, in the grand scheme of things, right and wrong are all subjective. So, you know, you may be putting more pressure on yourself because you don't have the physical support that you need, or maybe you do and you just don't allow it in. But I think the key here is to just understand that for the most part, you have a way of making decisions that always works out for you. You have a way of just standing in your truth and being led by something higher and bigger and more powerful than you in a way that a lot of people don't have. And that says a lot. That's something to say for sure. So, and I don't know why, but I just looked down at the Sagittarius card and I'm noticing the archer here, and just noticing, like, when you think of doing archery and how you have to kind of be on target for, like, when you're shooting the bow and arrow into the target, whether you miss or not, like, it's either going to go past it or it's going to go right into the, you know, the spot, or even if it hits a different part of the target, it doesn't really matter. The point is the strength that it takes to actually try and do that, and to gain the what is the word I'm looking for, the precision that is necessary in order to aim straight for the middle. I think that's something that you practice, but also I will say that that can also lean into perfectionism in a bit, because if you don't get it right, you may overload yourself in thinking that a problem is bigger than what it is. But the reality of it is, it's not. It's something that you're, again, going to get through, but your mind may have a way of playing tricks on you and making you perceive it as something that is almost like the end of the world. Because like I said, with this Ace of Swords energy, that does tie into, you know, just a new way of thinking. But whether that new way of thinking is positive or negative or whatever you want to call it is entirely up to you and how you perceive the situation in the first place. But I feel like for you, you know, like I said, I feel like, looking, cliche as it sounds, looking on the more fortunate side of things and just kind of keeping that at the forefront of your mind is going to be very beneficial for you at this time. And the truth and the answers will all come in once that, you know, part of yourself is taken into consideration, or even mastered, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so whatever it is that you're going through, trust and know that a decision, a way to go, a direction, it will all be shown to you, because again, you're very divinely led and you have no problem following directions. So this is what I'm picking up for you for Power 1. So if this resonates with you, please let me know down in the comments. You can also like and subscribe as well. And I hope to see you in the next video. All right, if you gravitated towards Pile 2 with the Black Obsidian, then here is your reading. We're going to get into your tarot first, with your first card being the King of Pentacles. Second card is the Justice card. Third one is the Ace of Cups. Fourth is the Four of Cups. And then lastly, you have the Lovers. Okay. So, I get the feeling of, oh, that's cool. You got 11 and 1, so 1, 1, 1. So trusting your intuition. So I get the feeling of someone who, and I just saw 111 on the clock. Oh my gosh. So like, I just feel like that number might apply to you in more ways than one. Maybe that's something you're always seeing. Doesn't have to be, but it definitely does apply to you in this reading right now. So I get the feeling of someone feeling like they're left out in the cold in a sense, or feeling like they're just missing something from life. Like you just need that one thing, because I think of the King of Pentacles and I think of someone who pretty much has everything they would need, everything that they want, as far as monetary things go, as far as maybe like tangible things goes. But for some reason, I'm getting the feeling of like maybe you're missing out on a relationship, or you're feeling like it's not fair that, you know, you haven't reached a certain goal in life, or you're like, well, when is it going to be my turn? That's the energy I'm getting. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a relationship wise. It could be like within career. It could be within like finances. It really doesn't matter. I just see the King of Pentacles as someone who's very abundant in most ways. And with the Justice card, I always think of like, you know, decisions being made without the emotions involved. So like I said, it just feels like very comparison energy, where you're just like, well, that's not fair. It should be my turn, you know, something of that nature. And, you know, it's very human to get into those modes, to get into those feelings. when you're conditioned to like be on timelines sometimes, like, you know, maybe you feel like, okay, I'm this age, I should have this by now or whatever. But I feel like what you need to hear right now is that everything is in divine timing, you know, and not to compare yourself at that, because oftentimes we only see what people want us to see, whether that be on social media, whether that be by word of mouth. You know, a lot of people keep secrets when it comes to the inner workings of their life. And that's not to say that things are imperfect or like they're like horrible, to say the least, but just to say that for the most part, people put out what looks good. So to just stay encouraged and know that your time will come when it's supposed to come. Especially here with this Ace of Cups here, I see like an outpouring of emotions, you know, and it's, I see it as you being like loved, you know, by the people around you, but I also see it as you being or feeling very alone in what it is that you're going through. And the Four of Cups energy just kind of clarifies that for me, where you're just like kind of in this comparison energy, like you just feel like what you have isn't enough. Like three cups here that they have being representative, like, you know, moving forward and just expanding upon something. And then that fourth cup there that isn't even being noticed because you're looking at what it is that you have. And I know that sounds weird because usually it's like I'm looking at what I don't have. I feel like you think about what you don't have, but you're looking at what you do have and it's still not enough. So I'm hearing like be more appreciative of what you do have. And that's not to say that, you know, the desire to want more or to want better for yourself is not is innately bad. It's just to say everybody doesn't have that to begin with. And you know, you work so hard to get there because this is king energy. You work so hard to get there in the first place, and just to not appreciate it. And it's like, where's the sense in that, you know? But you do have the Lovers at the end here. So I'm seeing it as, you know, you having your happy ending in due time. But in order to truly be happy, you'd have to stay present in the moment. You'd have, like, because if you were to get what you wanted, it's like you would just want something else. So this is about like kind of training your mind before you get there to appreciate and be more, feel more abundant in the aspects of life that you do have the opportunity to take advantage of. So yeah, I think that's all I'm picking up for your tarot cards here. Just to, you know, kind of not allow you, redirect your emotions, redirect your mindset so that your emotions will naturally follow. Because, like I said over here, this King of Pentacles energy, he's very hardworking. He's very grounded. He's very stable. He has a lot. It's fruitful. It's abundant over there. He has so much that he can hardly move. Like he's engulfed in it almost. And it's like, if you're, and it's interesting because he's looking to the sides over here, so it's like you're so caught up in what's going over here that you don't even see the goodness that's all around you. So I'm hearing like just kind of learn how to be more appreciative in what it is that you do have, because that'll take you a lot further. Because say, God forbid, you know, the end of the world is tomorrow and you spent so much of your time today not appreciating it, not appreciating this experience, that some people don't live as long as you, some people don't get to experience as much as you, some people don't get to see as much as you, some people don't get to feel as much as you, you know. And it's just saying, if you were to look at other people's situation, like say for example, you have a lot of money, you're very secure in your career, things of that nature, but you know, there's people out here who don't even have a roof over their head. So, and they're way more appreciative. Why? Because they're just living. And, you know, you can kind of go on YouTube and look that up and you'll see homeless people who are extremely happy. Not because of their situation, but just because God's given them another chance at life to just be. And that is a gift in itself. Like, everybody does not get this. So, I almost want to cry thinking about it because, you know, I feel like oftentimes we get into these comparison energies where it's like enough is never enough. It's like, make it enough. Make it enough, because anything that comes with the Lover's card is going to be well worth the wait, for sure. But you don't want to spend your time waiting on it in the Four Cups energy, like just kind of downing yourself or downing your situations. Like, you're very blessed in what you do have right now. So I think just being able to take in the present moment is going to be super important for you. Just being able to honor where it is you are in your journey right now is going to be very important to you, and that's what you need to know. So let's get into your oracle cards here. So you have clear your mental and physical clutter. You will feel so much better. Stay present. That's where life happens. I was just saying this to be in the present moment. So there's your clarity. Then you have air mid. Chameleon spirit, act as if. And buffalo spirit, the abundant universe will provide. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Like, so with this, clear your mental and physical clutter. You know, like I said, King of Pentacles, he is so wrapped up and so engulfed in his whatever he's sitting in, all the plants and all the fruitfulness and that he's surrounded by. But when I do look at this card and I do read that card, it does look a little messy. Like, if you look at it, it does. And that's not to say that, you know, you're a mess, but it's just to say, maybe if you clear out some of the things that you don't need, that'll make room for what you do need, mentally and physically. So that means clearing your mind of the thoughts that don't serve you, of the woe is me attitude, or the I will never have it, or whatever. Or maybe even if you do have like a lot of physical tangible things, a lot of clothes, a lot of like shoes, a lot of money, things like that. It's like, unless you're saving it or investing it, obviously, but like, there is a such thing as having too much of a good thing, and that may be what is making you feel maybe some unappreciativeness, because you have so much of one thing that you're like, well, I should have been had this other thing, and it's not really equaling out. So maybe giving back to, you know, those in need would be very important, or could be beneficial to you. You might meet someone along the way, if love is the topic at hand here, or even if it's just a business opportunity. If you're looking for, you know, just like, where's my big break at? You never know who you'll run into by just giving. And in turn, that'll clear your physical clutter. And then, like I said, with the mental thoughts that you're having, like, that is the biggest thing, because what we do and how we show up internally for ourselves does show up externally. And I just saw 11:11 on the clock, so another 1:1:1:1, but just one. So just starting over fresh, having a new beginning with your life. And it's never too late to start over. That's the most important thing here. You can start right now. You can start after you hear the reading, whatever. Just kind of doing like a hard reset on the way that you view your life would be very important. And then staying present, like I was saying, it kind of reiterates it. That's where life happens. You know, like I said, God forbid the end of the world is tomorrow and we all go, and it's like you spent so much of your time not being appreciative of the moments that you did have in the past and the ones you have right now in the present. Because, you know, you can't go forward. You can't go backwards. All we have is right now. So paying more attention to that will bring more abundance and appreciation into your life. Just, you know, being present and breathing, and just taking in air, and just, or even taking a walk outside, you know, that could be beneficial. And that kind of ties into this air mid card, because I think she has something to do with like herbs and just being out in nature. So maybe that could be something beneficial, just simply taking a walk. And also, I think she has like healing energy within her tears or something like that. And that kind of ties into this with the emotions, like just understanding that the emotions that you feel about like this not having the thing, that's not to be downplayed or anything. It's not saying that there's anything wrong with having these emotions, because they are meant to heal you, and they show up for a purpose and a reason, but just using them for power and not for your detriment. Like taking your power back from the crying or the upset that you have, and using it for your good. So being able to process it in a way that's like, okay, I feel these feelings. There's nothing wrong with me feeling these feelings. It's just the way I execute the feelings that is the most important. It's nothing wrong with desiring things. That just shows your will and your want for it. But just how you act on it is the most important thing. So maybe just like I said, going for a walk and just kind of catching your breath on things, or just seeing the world, maybe, because you can also be present during a walk. Do it with no music, do it with nobody. Just take a walk by yourself and just analyze the birds, the sun, the trees, wherever it is that you are. Just being able to kind of see life for what it is and not for what we want it to be, because it doesn't always pan out like that, and that just leads to more and more disappointment. But with this chameleon spirit here, act as if, so whatever it is that you're desiring, whatever it is that you're feeling like you're kind of left out in the cold about, or you're feeling like I should have that or whatever, act like you do. So say, for example, this is love. Say, for example, this is a relationship. Act like you're in a relationship with yourself, because you are. Buy yourself the flowers. Take yourself out on the dates. Take yourself and get yourself the new outfit, the new shoes. Tell yourself you love you. Tell yourself how beautiful you are, how handsome you are, how good of a cook you are, how amazing, you are at whatever it is that you do, how hardworking you are, because these things are all true despite whether you have someone or not. And if this is just in terms of like a career or just financial situation or something of that sort, act like you're be abundantly you're not broke, for one. Don't use that term. Take that out of your vocabulary if that is a thing with you. If money is just like an issue for you right now, you are abundant in many other ways. So just act like you're abundantly rich in all the other areas of your life, because you are. You're well taken care of. You don't go without in the ways that are necessary at this time for you in your life. God sees what's going on in your life. The creator, he created us, so it's like you can't just assume you're being ignored just because you don't have something. And I feel like that might be the feeling you have. It's like, oh, what about me? And then with this buffalo spirit, the abundant universe will provide. God does provide at all times. Like I said, you have a very abundant nature here already. Like you have more than enough if you just take a look at it. And it may not be all of what you desire or what you want, but it's still enough for you right now. You're still able to continue and maintain in the ways that you need to. And that's what's more important than our wants. And it kind of reminds me, like I said in another video a while ago, when I was still reading the Bible, when you read Ecclesiastes and you hear King Solomon talk about how like everything is meaningless. He has like all these riches, all these golds, he has all these women. He has like a beautiful temple, and it's like he has literally everything he wants physically in this world. But without God, that means nothing. So staying centered and finding your why and that spiritual connection with your creator is very important, because you kind of tend to lose sight of that when you're thinking about all the tangible things that could be going tomorrow, but your connection with God will never be, because we are a part of him. So just keeping that in mind and at the forefront is important. But I do want to read these two out of the book real quick before we get out of here. So Chameleon Spirit, the protection message here says, being sensitive and having empathy for others can become a heavy burden if you don't practice self-care. Could it be you're feeling stressed because you've tuned into challenging emotions that aren't even yours? Chameleon Spirit does not want you to adapt to these conditions by withdrawing or distracting yourself, hoping the feelings will just go away, or attempting to rescue another who may be having a pity party. You can be swallowed up by trying to manage it all. It is time to figure out where you end and where the rest of the world begins. Not all conditions are yours to match. You need to distinguish your own color from the rest of the world right now and take time out to soothe your sensitive soul. Choose some activities that will restore your sense of being grounded and avoid people who revel in drama. Take a break from social media too. Self-care and a timeout is the answer to this temporary dilemma. So yeah, tying yourself into other people, I feel like this really just dives right into taking on other people's like situations of their lives and comparing it to yourselves. Not so much like being a problem solver. Maybe you are, and that definitely could be sticking to you right now. Like you're taking on other people's issues and it's causing you to bring yourself down even more. But I feel like this is more of a personal issue you're having, but I feel like other people play a part in it where you're comparing yourself, where you're not allowing yourself that time to yourself. So like I said, going for a walk or just staying to yourself and cutting off your phone. Do not disturb is a thing. Now, if you are against that due to emergencies, I totally understand, but have the discipline not to answer your phone for people that you know are just going to come to you with their situations and their stuff and their problems, because it's only going to make you feel a certain way about yours. And then lastly, you have the Buffalo Spirit, and the protection message here is, when Buffalo Spirit visits you with a message of protection, he is asking you to shift your thinking from poverty consciousness to one where you trust the universe will provide. Have you been falling into financial insecurity, worrying that there might not be enough money in the future? Have you been stressing and feeling sorry for yourself, worrying that because you have no romantic relationship now, you will never have one? Do you see scarcity where there is, in fact, abundance? Are you comparing yourself to others and falling short? Self-pity, entitlement, fear, and lack are all thought viruses that seduce you into darkness. Buffalo Spirit nudges you to make a gratitude list and be mindful of your thoughts at this time. Even if outer events have happened to challenge your beliefs in abundance, outer conditions are temporary. If you are suffering from the malaise of fear that you are impoverished, realize that it is only poverty of perception and perspective. Prayer, communion with your higher power, and gratitude coupled with compassion, selfless service will snap you right out of it. Give it to someone who has less than you. Be thankful for the tiniest things and say affirmations. Then you will remember abundance is the true nature of the world. So yes, this goes right back into what I was saying about like feeling like you have less than, feeling like you're focusing on the lack. Like I said, in this Four Cups energy, you're focusing on what you do have, but it's still not enough. It's almost like I don't want to call it greedy, but it's just like I don't know. Like I'm thinking about, I don't know why I just thought about it, but if you're a SpongeBob watcher or you did watch it growing up, remember when Squidward fell in love with the Krabby Patties and he just ate all of them and it went straight to his thighs or whatever, and he just exploded? I almost get that feeling of like you just kind of exploding from taking in too much of what isn't good for you. I don't know why that came to me. Please do not judge me. I really don't. But it did, and I can understand how it would tie into this, because it's like you're taking in too much of a thing that's not really good for you. Even if it feels good to self-loathe, or it feels good to, and not, I don't mean feels good in a way where it's like, oh, I like doing this, but it just makes you feel like, oh, I have someone on my side. Like I feel like I deserve to feel this way. And it's like, well, who said that? So just being mindful of your thoughts and the perception that you have on your own reality, because I can guarantee you there's someone out there who would love your reality. That's not to say it's perfect, but it's to say you're still blessed enough for someone else to be like, wow, I would love that. So just keeping that in mind is very important. Like I said, with these ones I'm seeing, like just trusting your intuition, or even tweaking your mind so that your intuition is lined up with it, your thoughts rather, because the intuition is the first thing. And if you can check yourself on that, then you'll have anything you need, really, because the mind is a powerful thing, and your thoughts will definitely make or break you at certain points and times in life. But yeah, so pile 2, this is what I'm getting for you. I hope that it resonates with you. If so, you can feel free to drop a comment down below. You can also like and subscribe the video, because there will be plenty more of where this came from. And I hope to see you in the next one. Hey, pile 3. Last but not least, it is your turn. So if you chose this Smoky Quartz here, let's get into it. So we're going to start out with your tarot. And, all right, your first card, you have the 10 of Swords. Second one is the 2 of Swords. Third is Page of Pentacles. Fourth is the 3 of Wands. And then lastly, you have the 2 of Wands. All right. So I will say, out of all the other piles, this one seems to be the one that is, I mean, I don't want to minimize anybody else's situation, but that 10 of Swords jumping out the first time, yeah, that, all right, so pile 3. I'm feeling like a huge disappointment happened with some sort of plans you may have had. None really in particular. It could be a business venture that you went on and you just saw it going a certain way and it didn't pan out the way you wanted it to. It could be a relationship that you thought was like the one, but it just kind of led to disappointment fairly early on in it. With this page here, it could be a job that you thought was very fitting for you, and it just turned out to be much more of a disappointment, and you were led to kind of you're kind of being distrustful of your judgment, but also just of the world around you and what it is to expect from it. Because of the pain that came along with the realization that it wasn't what you panned it out to be, or what you thought in your mind it was going to be with this Swords energy. Now, the thing about the 10 of Swords, though it is painful, though it is very hard to go through and bear, the bright side, if you will, to it is that it is the end of the suit, the pip cards, in terms of like the pain. Like it's like kind of like rock bottom, you know, and after you hit rock bottom, there's no way else to go except up. So there are a lot of lessons, there are a lot of things within this that have happened that you can take and learn from. The beautiful thing about it is it's not the end of the world, even though it may feel like it is. It's not, and you have the opportunity to pick yourself back up and become better and bigger and more knowledgeable and just smarter and overall in general because of it, going forward into your next venture. The only thing with that is you'd have to let go of this trust that you have within yourself and just within the world in order to, you know, go the distance. Now, with this 2 of Swords energy, it's interesting because I think it was pile 1. They had 2 of Swords and 2 of Wands as well, but I did not read it the same, because with you, I'm reading this 2 of Swords as not necessarily trying to make the difficult decision, but actually trying to ignore it and just sit there and wait for some answer to come to you because you feel like I've done enough, or I'm just too distraught to make a move. And this is kind of distracting you from the beauty that the Page of Pentacles, like, of restarting again, of building something on more solid foundation the next time around. Because, you know, in order to build something, like, you kind of have to make the mistakes and see where the faults are before you can build that final thing. Because just thinking of like a tower moment and how you'll have those and like they'll get knocked down, you got to rebuild, and you get knocked down, you got to rebuild, and it's like, but there's going to come a point in time, and I just saw 444 on the clock, there's going to come a point in time where you don't have to rebuild anymore, where that thing will become more solid and stable, and all you'll have to do is maybe make like minor repairs on it, but it'll ultimately be your thing. So this could, whether it's relationship, whether it's a job, a career, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be your thing. You're going to find your niche. You're going to find your person. You're going to find that career, and it's going to stick so well. Like it will be like undeniable that it is yours, because it is the thing that you co-created with God in order to make, or God created for you, and you just kind of, led yourself on to just become one with it. The thing about the Page of Pentacles, though, that is slower energy in comparison to all the other pages. And he takes his time, in building that thing. He pays attention to the details. He pays attention to the groundwork and the foundation that is built upon. So it's important to figure out your whys and figure out what you're doing this for. So, if something is destroying you this bad to the point where, it kind of takes you out the game completely for a long time, or forever really, to the point where you feel like you don't want to do anything at all, you have to ask yourself, why did it have that much of a hold on me? Am I building connections here, or am I building attachments? Because there's a difference between the two, and connections are healthy. Attachments have the potential to not be. Most times they're not, because you hold on so tight to a thing that it becomes so much a part of you that you don't know how to move forward without it. Whereas something that connects, it can be pulled apart and you're still going to remain that thing. You're still going to remain yourself, rather, and just whole in who you are. So say, for example, this is a relationship and it just kind of went sour before you could allow it to, it even had the chance to thrive. Or maybe it did thrive in a way, and you just were met with all this disappointment. This is about still standing true on your own and realizing, okay, no matter what this person did, no matter how they intended on, acting out within the relationship or whatever, that does not take away from who I am at my core. I know I did everything I was supposed to do. I know that there's just a lesson in this that I need to learn from. So let me not allow them to have that much of a hold over me, because this is merely just a blip in my life. I've been through disappointments before, maybe not necessarily like this, but I've been through disappointments that I didn't think I would get out of, and I did. And so this is just a stepping stone towards my person, my forever person. Same thing with career and, just jobs in general. There's a million jobs out there. There's only one of you. That job that's for you has to find you. It has to come to you. You have to definitely, do the groundwork in terms of like, okay, what is it that I'm gravitating towards? What is it? Where's my niche at? Things of that nature. But it essentially has to attract to you. You don't want to attract to it, because that's where the attachment comes in. You're just grasping for straws at that point, trying to find what works. No, you want to find something that you kind of like navigate towards together, if that makes sense. And I'm feeling like when you do go to do that, like say with this Three of Wands energy here, you always find yourself looking towards this Two of Wands energy like he is. He's kind of like, maybe I should take a step back, kind of second guessing yourself. Like, oh, maybe this isn't the right decision. Maybe this isn't the right thing to do. Be confident and be sure in what decisions you're making. Regardless of if they go right or wrong, you're still very protected no matter what decisions you make. Right or wrong is just a matter of perception. Even if it does feel some sort of way, after the fact, like say you don't feel good about it after the fact, you can always tweak that and revamp, things of that nature. As long as you're still breathing, you have the opportunity to make these corrections and, do the right thing, or do the thing that works for you rather. But it's never going to happen if you continue to look towards your past and thinking, oh, this isn't right, or I'm not confident enough in my decision making. I'm not confident enough in this world that I can really create my own reality in a sense, or at least God can lead me into the reality that is supposed to be here for me. It's just asking yourself the right questions, like what is your faith built upon, and what are you doing to strengthen that, as opposed to, kind of like soaking in misery here in this energy. But I'm feeling like what you need to hear right now is, just to continue on throughout your journey. Do not allow a temporary situation to stop you. But not only that, but that you have so much potential that lies ahead of you. Just being able to have the willingness to try again. Now, the thing about it is that you just need to go a bit slower in your next, throughout your next experience. You need to go a bit slower and be a bit more practical in doing, the groundwork, kind of ironing out the details. Don't just dive head first into something. And that's not to say that you do. You could think like to yourself, like, oh, I'm doing all I can to maybe like map out this plan, but maybe there is something that you're missing, that you just kind of are overlooking. So just doing as much research as you can when it comes to this thing that you're going for. Even if it is something like, I know it sounds crazy doing research on relationships and things like that, but there is research that can be done for that. Like, it's not just like a career or a job thing, or just, things that are like in terms of money that you can research. You can research every aspect of your life until you find that missing piece, and then you can fit that in the puzzle and say, okay, now this is complete and I'm ready to move forward and try again. But the whole point is to not attach yourself to it regardless. I think that's a big, big thing that's being said right now. Don't attach yourself to things, because that's how you were led to disappointment. And it's kind of like, when you do that, knowing that it's going to lead to disappointment, you kind of set yourself up for it. And you don't want to be your own downfall. So that's what I'm getting from your tarot cards. Let's get into your oracle cards. So you have open your heart, not just a little, all the way, and let the love flow in. Then you have be authentic. Anything else is just exhausting. Then you have mushrooms. And then your last two are koala spirit. Spirit has a plan. And beaver spirit. Lay a solid foundation. Alright. So, starting over here with these two, with this open your heart, not just a little, all the way, and let the love flow in. I do feel like that is a testament. That is definitely talking about this Ten of Swords energy and this Two of Swords energy, where you feel so horrible about what just happened. You feel like it's the end of you, that you don't even want to move forward at all. Like, you're just like, I'm closing myself off. Shop is closed. Everything's done. Shut it down. I'm good. And it's like, no, that's not your real self. And even with this authenticity card, like, they kind of tie into each other. Being authentic, anything else is just exhausting. Your authentic self wants to love. Your authentic self wants to try again. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel so bad about the fact that it didn't work out in the first place. So a part of you still wants that thing. Otherwise, you would just be like, you know what? I don't care. It is what it is. I'm done with everything. Like, you wouldn't have as much emotion about it. You would just be like, all right, like, whatever. But you obviously want to open your heart. Don't let life's experiences harden you. Because honestly, the one thing, God is good and the devil is evil. So anything that's bad or evil or negative and anything like that, just know that you are feeding the devil when you do that. Like, you're just feeding into negativity in a way that it wants you to. Like, it's like almost like you're doing the right thing in terms of what negativity or evil wants you to do, if that makes sense. So like, you're not yourself, and you're not your highest self. I'll say that. You're not your highest self. You're lowering your vibration. You're at your lowest point. It's depression, it's sadness, it's anger, it's fear even. Fear is feeding the machine of evil, like it really is. So just knowing that and honoring yourself and your path, because that's not what God wants you to do. He doesn't want you to just give up just because you had a bump in the road, because that's really all it is a bump in the road. That's not to minimize your experience and say, because some people's bumps are bigger than others. You know what I mean? Like, it's not to say like, oh, damn, that didn't mess the car up when I ran over it. That's just to say it's fixable. And if that car is not fixable, we can get you a new car. Like, and I know that was a crazy metaphor, but in terms of what I'm talking about, so if it's a relationship, if it's a career, whatever, we can get you a new person. There's somebody out there that has your name written all over it. We can get you a new career. There's a career out there that is tailor-made for you. And this just goes without saying. And even with this book here that is on the page, it's like you write the story of your life. How do you want to write it? What do you want it to say? Because you are the author of your life. We create our own reality. Life is about choices. So what choice are you going to make in terms of how you move forward from this situation? You know, and being inauthentic is exhausting. Why? Because it leaves you here in this energy. Granted, nobody's saying don't feel the feelings. Nobody's saying don't have the emotions about the thing. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel disappointment that something didn't happen in the way you wanted it to. It's just the amount of energy you put into it. After a certain point, it becomes exhausting. After a certain point, it becomes overload. And then you just, again, you're starting to feed into it. You're like literally making it bigger than what it is because you're feeding it. So just ask yourself, how do I want to write my story? How is this next chapter going to go? Am I going to sulk in it? Am I going to just give up? Or am I going to try again? Am I going to learn from it and move forward? You know, and when I think about mushrooms, moving forward, when I think about mushrooms, I think about it in two ways. I think about the psychedelic mushroom that people take and how it alters your perception of reality. And it can heighten your senses. You can feel like music is the best thing in the world. The colors are more vibrant. You can come up with these creative things. But not only that, but if you take enough of it, you can become so like altered that you feel like you're like one with the universe. You're just one with everything. Like everything is just nothing and everything all at once. And it's just such an empowering feeling to have. I've never been that. Like, I've just heard that before. I don't know it for a fact, but you know, I've just heard people, you know, you can go on YouTube and look up people's experiences of shrooms, but just thinking of how like altered things get when you just kind of forget about the pain, because that's what it does. It like kind of numbs you to the pain of life. Now, unless you're in a bad mood, of course, because it has the effects of whatever it is you're feeling at the time. That's why they say don't take shrooms if you're in a bad mood, because it'll literally lower you. So it's like, how do you want this alteration to go? Like, how do you want your mind to go? Like, because this is either going to alter you in a good way or a bad way. It can either enlighten you or bring you down. So just asking yourself those questions. And then the other way I think of it is that, you know, even mushrooms, they're typically grown in like damp, dark situations and environments. And just asking yourself, like, how am I going to allow this dark situation to allow me to grow? Am I going to thrive in it? Or am I just going to like die in it? You know, and even through their dark, damp situations, they still thrive. They still grow. So you being, in a sense, a mushroom and still growing from it and becoming who you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be is the important part of all of this, and not allowing, like I said, life circumstances to harden you or to shut you out from the world to the point where you don't even want to do anything else. Now, with this Spirit has a plan to lay a solid foundation, I will read them out of the book, but with this lay a solid foundation, I do want to tie that back into this Page of Pentacles energy here, where I said, like, you have to ask yourself, what are your whys? What is the foundation built on? Is it strong? Is it stable? Like, why are you looking for this thing so much? Why is it such an attachment and not a connection? Like, why is it something that you're not able to break free from? And how come it has such a strong hold over you? But knowing that God has a plan anyway. God's plan is perfect, despite how we may feel about it, despite how it may look at times. And that goes for everyone, because nobody's life is perfect. We all go through things, ups, downs, all arounds. And it's like at the end of it all, it's going to make sense. And that is what you hold on to, is that the fact that it's going to make sense. Even if it doesn't right now, even if it's muddled, even if it's murky, even if it's dark, even if it's damp. Like, it's like, use those tears that wet, murky, whatever, tears to fuel you and learn from it. But I'm going to read these out of the book real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. So you have Koala Spirit, and the protection message here says, are you feeling uneasy and mistrustful of the world? Have you been hiding in a safe spot, afraid to venture out because you're convinced that life and other people will disappoint you? Koala Spirit has appeared to let you know that your faith is misplaced. The present safety you seek is already passing away because all things are temporary and outer conditions are always changing. Find your safety by placing your faith and trust in Spirit, who will grow the abundance that is already yours. Perhaps you are acting slowly and overly cautious because you lack faith that there is more for you out there than what you know. You may have boxed yourself into a safe place that has nothing else to give you and become so familiar with it that you have forgotten to explore. Are you feeling pessimistic and convinced there is nothing more out there for you? Koala Spirit reminds you that self-care is meant to replenish you so that you can venture out again in faith, trusting that there is no limit to the joy Spirit wants you to experience. Be good to yourself and reconnect with Spirit to reclaim your faith in things yet unseen. So yes, this is you moving out of this Ten of Swords, away from this Two of Swords energy and into this Page of Pentacles, where you try and you try again. This is a bright future ahead of you. It really is. You just gotta want to see it for yourself. But then once you actually do take that step and you do move into this Three of Wands energy, where you make the decision and you get to broaden your horizons and you see all that is out there for you, don't look at it in a way where you want to look backwards. Don't look at it in a way where you are regretful. Look at it in a way where you are inspired, where you're like, I can do anything. I can make this happen for myself. I don't have to allow my past to define me, because it doesn't. And I'm bigger than this. I'm better than this. It was just a stepping stone, and that is it. But if you allow it to keep you stuck here, you'll never get up off of that seat. And honestly, it's concrete. It can't be the most comfortable thing to sit on for a long period of time. So yeah, again, feel your emotions. That's what the self-care is all about. Feeling your emotions, but just not get into a depressive and a slump state where you're just stuck in a rut for days on end or months on end or whatever the case may be. Take a couple days if you need to, because nobody's saying jump right back into it. Process what happened for sure. But get up, get up, because you can, because you will. Because you want to, because you need to. You have people rooting for you. And if you don't have nobody rooting for you, guess what? I'm rooting for you. So get up, okay? For real. I'm so serious. Because it's not worth it. And I've been there before, so I totally understand where you just but you know what? I had to pull myself up out of it. And sometimes you can't pull yourself out of it. Sometimes you need someone else's encouragement. And that's why you clicked the reading. So here is your encouragement that there is more out there for you. You just have to go into it the next time around with a more solid foundation and just a better plan. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes, though. Do not X yourself out from the game because you made a mistake. And then lastly, you have Beaver Spirit, lay a solid foundation. It says, Beaver Spirit has come to warn you to check for rotten wood in the foundations of your dreams. Perhaps you built your hopes on faulty promises or wishful thinking that something will work out just because you wanted it to. Maybe you made choices from a place of unworthiness, hoping that once you got what you desired, it would somehow change you and make everything better. And you had to face the truth that it didn't. Or Beaver Spirit may be telling you it is time to accept things as they are and perhaps consider abandoning the project, relationship, or situation so you can make room for something better. Perhaps you need to go back and rebuild a solid foundation because what you desire may not be in alignment with what your soul intends. Beaver Spirit says you can always get busy and build something fresh and new if the desire is true. All manner of miracles can spring up from a new, strong foundation when you remember your partnership with Spirit. Be clear about what you're building and why, choosing from a place of worthiness, well-being, and wholeness. Self-understanding and acceptance will provide you with a solid blueprint to begin again. Get busy now. Beaver Spirit says this is not a time to procrastinate, but a time to start building again. Always mindful of the foundation you're laying, trusting that spirit is co-creating with you. Now, I will say for most of you, I feel like it's telling you the first part of it where it says you've built hopes on faulty promises or wishful thinking that something would work out just because you wanted it to. You know, you had this whole dream in your head and it's like, I just want it to work. I want it to work. But is that person good for you? Is that job good for you? Is that thing good for you in the long term? If the answer is no, then why do you want it? Is it out of feelings of lack or unworthiness? But then for the some of you, I mean, it could be saying, like it says, it's time to accept things as they are and perhaps consider abandoning the project, relationship, or situation. But guess what? It says to make room for something better. So regardless of if that thing doesn't work out for you in the way that you wanted it to, that's because God has a plan that's bigger than you even can think of. And how beautiful is that? That God sees you fit for something better than even your mind can fathom. Even if it's painful, even if it doesn't feel like, it feels like this is the best that I can get. It's like, no, God said no better. You can have better. You can have more. So it's just important to keep these things in mind when you go through the mud, when you go through the storms. Just knowing and having faith and keeping faith is important. It's easy to keep faith when things are good. It's even more difficult when things are not looking their nicest or their best. So just being able to strengthen that quality within yourself is going to be very important to you. But just know you will get out of this rut, these feelings of hopelessness or unworthiness or whatever the case may be. But in order to do that, you're going to have to do some changing of the mindset and the changing of who you are, because you're so much more than who you think you are. But if you don't believe that, then what good is it? So, but yeah, so this is what I'm getting for pile 3. I hope it resonates with you. If it does, please feel free to drop a comment down below. You can also like the video. You can subscribe as well, because there'll be plenty more videos where this came from. And I hope to see you in the next